Why would anyone be grateful for alcoholism? What does it mean to be a grateful alcoholic? How does gratitude impact alcoholism recovery? Let's break it down. And as always, I'll give you a holistic perspective and helpful resources for achieving gratitude. Hi, this is Mary, your holistic recovery coach. Today we're talking about a topic, gratitude for alcoholism. Gratitude and alcoholism, two words that many people might not think would be lumped together. But gratitude is a key concept in alcoholism and addiction recovery. Gratitude in active alcoholism, not so much. Ask any recovering alcoholic or addict how much they remember feeling gratitude in their active drinking years, and they might laugh at you. Because so often their emotional state was quite the opposite of gratitude. Or they might grasp for some examples from their drinking days, like grateful for getting home safely, grateful for finding my car in one piece, or grateful for not getting caught for something. But even in those examples, they're really fleeting feelings that are more about being happy about avoiding something negative than feeling inherently grateful for something positive. Certainly if we ask family members if they had gratitude about a loved one and their active alcoholism or addiction, we'd be hard-pressed to get much more than perhaps, just grateful that they're still alive. The family wouldn't have much reason to have gratitude that their loved one is an alcoholic or addict. So really where gratitude comes into play is on the recovery side of alcoholism and addiction. In the early days of recovery, newly sober recovering alcoholics usually report feeling grateful about things that are in direct relation to simply not drinking anymore, like waking up without a hangover, waking up with a clear head and relatively feeling well compared to how they used to feel when they were drinking, grateful for being able to show up on time, show up clear-headed and relatively well-rested, just being able to show up for their job or school or just for the people in their life in general, more than they were able to when they had been drinking. Those are just some examples in early recovery. As time goes on, the sober alcoholic can be grateful for things like restored relationships, career, improved health, trust in oneself, and maybe even a belief in a higher power, or at least a sense of purpose in the world. What does it mean to be a grateful alcoholic? Often people are perplexed the first time they hear someone in a recovery meeting or elsewhere refer to themselves as a grateful alcoholic. Why would they do that? Why would they say that? Of course, it's always a grateful recovering alcoholic who says that. Emphasis on the recovering. Naturally, if someone has alcoholism, they're apt to be grateful for being in recovery from that disease. Just as someone with a debilitating disease is grateful to be in remission from that illness. It makes sense someone would be grateful that their alcoholism disease is in remission, so to speak. But gratitude for alcoholism in general? Yes, sometimes it goes beyond being grateful just for being on the healthier side of the diagnosis, and a recovering alcoholic may actually be grateful for actually being an alcoholic, period. Grateful for their alcoholism? Why? Most explain the answer to that question with something along the lines of, well, if I didn't have alcoholism, I wouldn't have my recovery. That the gifts they've received in their life as a result of their recovery journey are so profound that they're so grateful and glad that they're an alcoholic, recognizing that in being an alcoholic, that's the only thing that would have led them to their journey of recovery and the gifts that it has brought. So let's talk a little more about gratitude and sobriety and the holistic perspective that I promised. Why is gratitude good for us? Gratitude is a healthy state of being for anyone, but it's particularly encouraged for alcoholics. Why is that? It is particularly encouraged for sobriety. There's a saying that goes, "A grateful alcoholic won't drink." Often people with long-term sobriety will encourage newcomers to recovery to practice making a gratitude list every day because it can have a profound effect on staying sober. There's plenty of research on the topic of gratitude and its linked to health benefits, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I'll link to an article below summarizing some of the research on the benefits of gratitude on all aspects of life, relationships, health, career, and more. Coming from my training and experience in energy psychology and holistic healing, I can speak to the energy of gratitude and why gratitude is indeed so beneficial for staying sober and for enhancing recovery. There is actually a vibrational energy to different emotional states. Dr. David Hawkins' large body of work involves measuring vibrational frequencies of many things, including emotional states. His findings on this are outlined in something he calls the map of consciousness. It's a chart outlining the different vibrational frequencies that have been measured. I'll link to one of his books that explains the chart in detail in the description below. The state of appreciation, another word for gratitude, calibrates at 500 on the scale of consciousness. And gratitude is in the same range as love is. Anger is at 150, as well as hatred, coming in that same range. The states of fear, guilt, and shame are even lower than that. If you haven't already seen a previous video that I did on what emotions are most dangerous to recovery, check that video out after you watch this one. All the emotions I talk about in that previous video that discuss what makes a sober alcoholic most vulnerable to drink again measure in the lower vibrational frequencies. Gratitude, in contrast, calibrates at a much higher frequency range, which leads to greater health in general. So it makes sense that an alcoholic who practices being in that state of gratitude is less likely to want to change the way they feel and pick up a drink to do so. Thus, from a holistic perspective, having gratitude for alcoholism and gratitude in sobriety does in fact support staying sober and enjoying an abundance of other potential benefits that come from being in a state of gratitude. Finally, let's talk about resources for achieving gratitude. You may now understand the importance of gratitude in recovery, but still struggle to achieve that state. Certainly it isn't as easy as just flipping a switch. If you've been primarily existing in those lower emotional states, it can take some conscious effort and practice to ascend to those healthier, higher vibrational emotional states. As far as resources for achieving gratitude, well, I already mentioned the simple tool, that simple act of taking a couple minutes each day to practice making a list of some of the things that you are grateful for in your life. Many people find it helpful to keep a gratitude journal for that sole purpose. But simply coming up with things that you're grateful for does not discount the very real and valid reason you may have for having been in those lower vibrational states for so long, like anger, fear, guilt, and remorse. The best mind-body tool I know of for transforming limiting thoughts and emotions is a technique that I have advanced training in called Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT for short. I'll link to a previous video I did on EFT and an article on it that briefly explains Emotional Freedom Technique in the description below. Emotional Freedom Technique is best utilized by a trained professional to guide you through the process, but you can also quickly learn it on a basic level, to use it on your own, to begin to learn to manage emotional stressors and shift to a place of gratitude. Again, I'll link to all those resources I mentioned below. I'll also include contact information for getting in touch with me if you'd like a virtual coaching session for some one-on-one guidance and holistic support to help you to achieve authentic gratitude or to work on another area in your recovery or healing journey. Thanks for please clicking the like button, and I welcome your comments or questions below on gratitude for alcoholism. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, Mary Vano, for more content related to healing, personal growth, and addiction recovery.